Hello, and welcome to the Thursday, December 6th meeting of TV Toastmasters. Thank you for joining us in the audience today, and for those of you looking in at home. TV Toastmasters meets the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. and the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. at the Anderson Community Television Studio located at 7850 5 Mile Road. We welcome you and hope that you can come check us out.
It is with snow. When I was younger, my friends and I would gather all the snow that we could and try to make these huge igloos. And we would build them up and build them up and build them up until they got very, very big, and then we would start. We weren't very efficient at making igloos. We were pretty bad at it, but we would make this huge snowball and then make it hollow on the inside, and then we would hang out in there and spend the whole day there, and then at the end we would just pile dive onto it, and then one of our friends would be on the inside, and then they just wanted to see the snow collapse in on them. So you were like dog pile on our friends on the inside of the igloo. And I wouldn't do that today because, well, we did it with my girlfriend and her brother. So he's 6'3" now, so someone would probably die if they were on the inside of an igloo or suffocate easily. So igloos, I would not make them, and I would not jump on them with people on the inside ever again, I think. Much too old for that.
Yeah, we're very good when we were young. Thank you for that great answer. And 'tis the season to be baking. What baking smell reminds you of the Christmas season the most? And do you still get to smell that aroma in this present day? And Mary, I'm going to put you on the spot here and ask you to come up. You can do it. See, that listening is part of this. 'Tis the season to be baking, and what baking smell reminds you of the holiday season the most, and do you get to smell it today? This season.
Oh, excuse me. Thanks for having me up, Carol. Actually, I am not a baker, so that's really a stretch for me. I guess I would have to say apple pie reminds me of the holiday season. To me, apple pie is always the perfect dessert. Doesn't matter if it's Mother's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and you definitely have to heat it up so you smell it. And there's nothing better than putting a big glob of ice cream, vanilla ice cream, on the apple pie. So, and apple pie just generates a lot of warm feelings for me because my boys love apple pie. So.
Thank you very much, Mary, for coming up without notice that you were going to be asked to be up here. That concludes my table topics for today, and I would like to return control to the Toastmaster. I've known her all my life. Carol Kormelink. We now come to the speaking part. Are we going with the revised or the original? Okay. Our first speaker today, Dr. Peter Ruelhman, is in the educational field, and he will be talking to us about perseverance, serendipity, and gratitude, and this is his icebreaker speech, his first speech before an audience here. Dr. Peter Ruelhman.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I quit. I hate doing this. I'm not going to do it anymore. I give up. All right, I'm not really a quitter, but I've had these thoughts, like most of us during my lifetime. Sometimes intrusive, but sometimes not. The truth is, perseverance and a little bit of luck and serendipity have really found their way into my life and have facilitated my success. Let me explain how and why. I was born in difficult circumstances on the west side of Cincinnati. My father drank way too much. My parents were divorced when I was 10. Unfortunately, 2 years later, my father passed away from cancer. So we went from difficult times to dire times. But we did not give up. Our church was able to provide tuition assistance for me, and I was able to attend a very nice high school on the west side of town, LaSalle High School. Some of you may have heard about it. It's an all-boys parochial school, very well thought of, and I was thrilled to be there. I had a wonderful bunch of role models there. I just can't tell you all of them. but there was one guy that really stood out, Mr. Dunphy. Bill Dunphy was my junior year English teacher, and he had a really deep and passionate love for literature and writing, and was able to communicate this love to his students. He was an inspiration to many. One day he asked me to stay after class. I thought I was in trouble. I didn't know what was going on here. But in fact, he pulled me aside and very graciously told me that he felt I had a gift of writing. He had noticed my essays. He thought I could think well, and made me feel like I could do absolutely anything. Because from then on, because Mr. Dunphy believed in me, I believed in me. What a serendipitous event. I often wondered over the years, what if I hadn't had this conversation, what difference that might have made. Well, I studied hard and I didn't give up in the last couple of years of high school. I was able to graduate near the top of my class and was quite proud of how things worked out. I was accepted into the honors program at the University of Cincinnati and soon found myself into the very, very competitive and even cutthroat world of pre-medical education. Perseverance was certainly the key to my success there. During my junior year, though, I developed some health problems and actually had to withdraw from school for a full quarter or semester. It was pretty devastating to me, but I was able to rebound, and again, I did not give up. I was able to finish college in time and had a wonderful evening that I'll always remember in my senior year. There was a knock at the door. There may be a few people here old enough to remember this thing called telegrams. And someone arrived and knocked at my door and presented me with a telegram announcing that I'd been accepted into the College of Medicine in the early decision program. So unlike a lot of my peers who were sweating it through the year, I found out in September and could sort of kick back and relax during my senior year. Well, this was welcome and exciting news, and it was my dream come true. I went on to medical school, and even looking back, I feel like I learned more than a lot of people learn in their entire lifetime. It was a magnificent experience. My internal medicine residency at the University of Iowa continued this excitement, but really I was thrilled to finish there and come back to my hometown of Cincinnati where my family and friends were. In 1981, I accepted a position at Good Samaritan Hospital as a general internist. I threw myself into my practice and was thrilled to find finally I could really make a difference in people's lives. It was exciting. I was engaged in teaching, research, and leadership positions at the hospital. It was really quite fulfilling. But something really, really vital was missing, and I definitely did not give up in this arena. In 1986, I met a young P&G manager named Deborah Chisholm. We immediately hit it off and found a fun fact about ourselves. We both had the same birthday, October 20th. Neither of us had ever met anybody, so we thought this was some kind of cosmic event. And we also thought it was serendipitous again. Pretty soon, 10/20 became our mantra, and we both were just thrilled with each other and went on and got married in 1987. I'm proud to say last week we celebrated 25 years of marital bliss. After 2 years of fellowship, I missed a slide there. So even as my personal life was growing, my professional life was evolving as well. And I'd found that I had a long-standing interest in cancer medicine, perhaps because of my dad's situation when I was young. And I began to think that it was time to move on. One afternoon I called the College of Medicine just on a whim. The woman that answered the phone was incredulous. She said, "It's amazing. Yesterday one of our candidates dropped out and there was a position available." Serendipity again. I went on, was accepted, and graduated 2 years later. I'm happy to say I've been practicing for the past 20-plus years right down the street at Mercy Anderson as a medical oncologist and hematologist. It's been challenging but rewarding. Imagine someone coming up to you and saying, "Hey, doc, thanks for saving my life." But I saved the best for last. In 1992, my first child, Rebecca Ruelhman, was born. It seemed like she grew up overnight. I don't know how it happened. But she's now studying international affairs in Boston. Her mission simply is to save the world. 2 years later, my son Matthew joined us. He hopes to be a famous Broadway actor someday. So in closing, hard work and serendipity have clearly paid off in my life. I think you can get that as you've listened to my talk. And I'm grateful for the blessings that I have. I try to focus on these blessings as much as I can, even when things aren't going so well. Oprah Winfrey said it best. Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you focus on what you don't have, you will never, never have enough. Madam Toastmaster?
Thank you very much. Wow.
I'd like to begin tonight with a little joke. This guy, he's a farmer, and he says, hey, hello, sorry. But seriously, folks.
Speaking in public is no joke.
Doctor says, chicken says...
For help, call Toastmasters, the public speaking support group.
The chicken.
Welcome back. Our second speaker today is doing a project called a High Performance Leadership Project. In fact, he's already done it, and he will be giving us the results today in his 5 to 7 minute speech. 5 to 7, 4 to 6, 5 to 7. The results from his high performance leadership, the secret to our success. Rick Barron, Advanced Communicator Bronze, Advanced Leader Bronze, the secret to our success.
Thank you, Carol, for helping to facilitate my speech today. What is the secret to your success? My objective up here today is to share with each and every one of you the secret that the Public Relations Committee for the district's fall conference, the secret to their success. Every year, the district hosts 2 conferences. The typically attendance is in the 200+ range. Imagine planning, organizing, and executing 2 large weddings every year. That's exactly what it's like, organizing one of these conferences. As the Public Relations Chair, my role was very concise: to pull together all the documents and other material necessary to promote the conference. You could probably drive a truck through that, right? My team and I helped with the theme, pulled together all the graphics, created walkaways that people could hand out at different events, a business card, a bookmark. We were responsible for creating the registration form, all the content that went on the website, the videos that got used in promoting the conference, as well as all of the email communication that went out. Sounds like printed material and other communication used to promote the conference, right? But what about sponsorship? The Public Relations Committee was responsible for sponsorship. Corporate sponsors, club sponsors, individual sponsors, pulled together all the vendors, and in addition, got all the products that were necessary for the silent auction. We also facilitated the creation of the program that got used at the conference. The role just kept expanding and expanding and expanding. You want to know the secret to the success? Communication. Effective, pertinent, on time, concise communication. Those of you who are sitting in here understand the benefit of communication. And those of you out there watching at home may want to come and check us out here to understand what it is we learn here and how to do it. I was able to recruit people to join my team by sitting down, sharing my vision, asking them whether or not the role that I had would facilitate goals that they were trying to accomplish. And I was able to get people to join my team. Once on my team, we had weekly calls where we shared status, talked about next steps, offered opportunities to help. We communicated via email literally every day. And in most cases, I was on the telephone with one or more members of the team and our leadership for the conference on the way to work or on the way home. Communication is what effectively drove the success for the project. What were the goals and the measures? Overall, the conference goal was to have 250 paid attendees. We had 191. Not quite what we had hoped. We also had hoped to have 150 people that paid for the entire weekend package. We had 101. Not quite the 150 that we had expected. But if I look at the positive side of that, 101 gold packages is more than has ever been done before. Getting people to commit to the entire weekend experience, and over 50% of the people that enrolled for the conference signed up for the entire weekend. We had more people at the Friday night fun night, at the banquet on Sunday or on Saturday, and at the events on Sunday morning, I think, than I've seen in quite some time. We had 12 vendors that participated, where people could take time during the breaks or at mealtime to go out and solicit business from them. And in addition, people told us that the program that we put together was the absolute best that they had ever seen at a conference, and has now become the new gold standard for conferences. And we kept getting inquiries about, how did you do it? Who put it together? How can we replicate exactly what you did? Communication. Whether you're wanting to improve personally, professionally, in a community standpoint, or from a team, effective communication is the key to success. In recruiting people, in setting expectations, in understanding status and next steps, in reaching out to help, in each and every instance, when we interact with someone else, it's through communication that allows us to effectively get that job done. Communication was the secret to the success of the PR committee for the fall conference, and I submit that effective communication is the secret to your success as well. If you're sitting out there wondering how you can improve your communication skills, come visit us at www.tvtoastmasters.com. Ms. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. And how many pictures did you take? 1,000?
I took over 400 pictures.
Okay.
Sheila took almost 300, and Frank took another 100. So you're right, I forgot to talk about the 900 plus pictures that I get to go through to put together the slideshow.
Thank you very much again, Rick. The high performance leadership changed my life, because I thought that a leader said, you do that or your replacement will. That's a driver. They drive people crazy. A servant leadership is what you learn in the high performance leadership, the 5 areas of helping other people take a step up.
All the education in the world won't help you get ahead in life if you can't express your ideas effectively. Every day, competition for advancement gets tougher and tougher. You need an edge. A Toastmasters club can give you that edge. A low-cost learning experience for men and women. Toastmasters gives you the confidence to express your ideas to anyone. Get the Toastmasters edge.
Welcome back to TV Toastmasters. Our third speaker this evening, this is his first speech before an audience. Diego Martinez is going to talk about festivities in my country. And I'm looking forward to your speech, Diego. Let us welcome Diego Martinez.
Thank you, Carol. Well, good evening. I appreciate it for coming today. For people who are sitting, obviously, in their homes. Today I'm going to have broke up some of the sharing with the team some of the most important things that I consider some of the festivities that are in my country and kind of comparison with what we're doing in the States. So what I want to start first is, obviously, I am originally from Colombia. I came to Cincinnati about probably 7 years, and I really enjoyed working and living in Cincinnati because it's a nice city and have a lot of opportunities to grow personally and professionally. So this is like a place for being here. Other thing that I've been doing in my life is after I graduated in the University of Louisville, Kentucky, I came to Cincinnati and I saw that there was an opportunity in a career for category management. But I continue doing that kind of leading in my parents. And right now we are getting to the December area, and I would like to share some of the things that even working part of my life is also sharing activities. So like you know, Christmas is everything about giving, same in my country. And one of the things that we do in Christmas is we celebrate the Christmas and in the evening, in the morning, like we're doing here. So everybody just get started and get dressed for the evening, and the celebration actually is on the 24th at night, and 25 at night continue the festivity. It's a lot of sharing, and it's also a lot of exchanging gifts, and also sharing like the moment with other people at the same time. So this is what we're doing in Christmas. There is obviously a good meal that is going to be prepared for either the grandma or the moms, and it's sharing some other alternative that one. But the festivity doesn't end at night. You continue basically after the meal. You continue dancing and sharing with other members of the family or even friends who sometimes they come to their house. Before that Christmas, they have in some of the religions, they have like 9 nights that they do similar things, getting together, but they call novenas, which is the number 9 of the. So they come to every house and they celebrate that one. So and Christmas is like the big party, but you having 9 parties before that party. So it's one of the things that in preparation for that one. In some areas in Colombia, they celebrated the Christmas, but they extended the party not until 1 or 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning, but they go to the next day. So, I mean, people can pass over the night and continue dancing and sharing. So it's something that never stops during the night. And there is a time to recover from the 25th to the New Year's Eve. So what the people are doing between those days? So during those days, well, people start preparing other kind of activities like, okay, now we are going to prepare what is going to be the new year. And there is some of the tradition, what they do in that night. So one of the things that they do is they prepare they do kind of a mock of a person that is I don't know if the people in the camera can see it, but they are going to give a bye-bye to the old year. And that the tradition is because they have like a Muppet, so they put inside like a fireworks. And the idea is to have a bye-bye to everything bad that happened that year. So with that thing is, obviously, when it's midnight, people get together, and before they just burning, what they doing is they have 12 grapes. So everybody have 12 grapes, and the people make 12 wishes of maybe a wish for a month, and then eat the grapes, and then the party really started. So it's the 12 at night, and people start. And this is what happened. This is another picture, obviously, in area. So they basically burned the old year, and now we have a new year. So they call Año Viejo, and now is Año Nuevo. So all the bad things that happened, so it's erase it, and then now we have a new thing. So this is in terms of just kind of fun, in terms of what's going on that night. And the other thing that happened that night is people have some traditions, some wishes. So people want to have as low as they want to travel to the world. So there's some people who take some empty bags, and they take the bags, and they around the house they do like a kind of just kind of walking around with 2 bags empty, and they mean that they're going to travel for the next year. That kind of tradition. So they kind of come with that idea. The other thing is some people also has like a $500 in money, and they have in 20s. And what they do is they start counting money at the same time, like it's midnight, and then they start counting the money. That means that they're going to have a lot of money for the next year. So that's also the tradition that they have too. And finally, the other thing is it's very traditional for females to, or that's for female. They have like the pants are going to be like a yellow. So there's always like all the sales of panty with that specific color is to the roof, because everybody, all the females are wearing like panties that are yellow. So you can see that it's something that is traditional, but people believe it that that's the only way that they have that one, kind of continue the tradition. And finally, obviously, they have the toast, and people drink the champagne or whatever they have, and continue the party until the next day. And the idea is to not get hung on, obviously continue. And in some areas, they have a swimming pool, or they go to the sea, and they have like a bath, and the party will continue only until the 6th. But this is kind of different, but I'm trying to obviously sharing with you what could be the festivities if I was in my country for the next couple of days. So thank you very much for allowing me to share that experience with you.
Thank you very much, Diego. Very interesting. And we will be right back.
Thank you very much. And now for our next speaker, Stanley Glitchner.
Speaking in public doesn't have to be a death sentence. At Toastmasters, we can help you overcome your fears.
Welcome back. And the next part of our meeting will be the feedback, where the general evaluator will introduce the evaluation team. And I would like to introduce Steve Ehrenholtz. He is a distinguished Toastmaster. That means he has gone to the top of both educational tracks in the communication and leadership. Let us welcome Steve Ehrenholtz, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, our fellow Toastmasters, our honored guests, and our guests that are looking in from home. As Carol had mentioned at the beginning of our meeting, the evaluation portion is where we're going to get feedback on what we're doing well and things that we might want to consider improving in future speaking opportunities. My evaluation team that I have today, I have 3 individuals who will be giving us evaluations on the speakers that you've heard giving prepared speeches. We also have our grammarian and odd counter who's going to be giving us examples of the different crutches that we use. And then we'll round out our evaluation portion of the meeting with our timer, as well as a few remarks that I will have at the end of the evaluation portion. Our first evaluator today for Peter Ruelhman is Sheena Staden. So help me welcome Sheena up here to evaluate Peter on his icebreaker speech. Sheena?
Okay. Well, first of all, Peter, thank you for making it so easy on me. You were really natural. Everything went very smoothly, and it was very interesting. So, as you were talking, I had a couple of things to keep in mind. Your strong points, which was something that I just said. It was very natural, very flowed very well. And it is obvious that you were really good at writing, as you said in your speech. You could tell that as you were talking. You had a very interesting beginning. It was very engaging. I was just looking down, and all of a sudden you were yelling, and my head pops up. I'm like, what happened? A great organization with your speech. Also, you had great gestures. I thought it added a lot of emphasis during certain parts, and when you told a joke, I can't remember specifically what it was, you kind of leaned in to the audience to tell them, hey, I'm about to say something funny. And then everyone laughed on cue. The second thing was how well the audience got to know you, or how well I got to know you. I feel like I know everything about you. I know about your life, the good and the bad. I know your wife and you share a birthday. I know about your father. Sorry about your loss. You found a mentor in your teacher. Again, you're the great writer. You were an honors student. I know so much about you. And then the third thing was about preparation. It was obvious that you were prepared, that everything was organized. And the fourth thing, did you speak clearly and audibly? Yes, absolutely. I could hear you, no problem. And you did have a definite opening, body, and conclusion. As I said before, I thought your opening was very engaging, was very interesting. Your body, as I said before, was well organized. I thought it was also very interesting. And I liked your ending. It was a great ending. I liked that quote from Oprah. It really summed everything up, and it was very relevant. And your notes, you used them, you got caught up one time on them, but that's natural, that's going to happen. You weren't relying on them fully, so that's good as well. And lastly, something that I think you could have done differently. It's hard to say because it was so natural and it was so interesting. The only thing that I can think of, since you are such a natural and obviously good at making presentation and speeches, maybe try a more challenging topic in the future. Pick a topic that could be hard for you. That's the only thing I can think of. But, oh, one more thing. On our last meeting, our word of the day was serendipity, so you would have got so many points today if it had been last time.
I used facilitate.
Yeah. But overall, great. Good job. I look forward to hearing your speeches in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheena. Our next evaluator will actually be giving us evaluations for our second and third speaker today. So Michelle is going to be giving us her evaluation of Rick Barron's speech as well as Diego's speech. So help me welcome Michelle.
I hope I actually facilitate this in a somewhat organized manner because I've got my notes everywhere. So first, let's start with Rick Barron. So Rick is, as he mentioned, completing his high performance leadership. And the great thing about that is I actually was a part of his committee along with Steve. So I got to see his preparation thoroughly. I got to actually attend the conference. So I really get to see how Rick started from a really challenging role as the PR chair, and then he completely executed, flawless to say. It was great to see it from start to finish. But I'll go ahead and just let you know what his objectives were. It was to present the speech and let us know, as a part of the program, the project that he selected for his high performance leadership, and then to share with us the result. So as I mentioned earlier, I got to see the preparation. We had several meetings as a group. Myself, Shankar, and Steve were on Rick's high performance leadership committee. Always came very prepared to the meeting, so that was great. And he did a really good job today of letting us know his role. I mean, very concrete, specific examples from, doing the graphics, creating the takeaways, the promotional material, the sponsorships, leading a team, having emails and phone calls and so forth. So it showed us the actual tactical plan that Rick did. So did a great job there of communicating that to us. And then what I also think he did a really nice job of was telling us the message that effective communication is what made him successful, but it also applies to all of us. So he did a really nice job of taking a very specific situation or project and giving a message that can be applied to all of us and everything that we do. So fantastic message, effective communication equals success is essentially how I sum that up. So fantastic there. As far as areas of improvement, Rick is always so hard to evaluate, but the only thing I could think of is maybe you could have brought that fantastic program, because as you mentioned, really nicely done, got a lot of props for it, and people were asking how it went together so nicely. So give yourself some kudos, show it off, and share with the crowd exactly what you did. Show the actual concrete example. And let's see, I also really liked how you ended your speech with, "Come to Toastmasters." So it gave him another opportunity to promote our club. I would have never expected it from the topic and the way that he led into the speech, but Rick has a really good knack for slipping that in all the time, and I think we all appreciate that because it really shows what Toastmasters has done for him. So fantastic job. It was an honor to be a part of your committee, and again, it's always challenging to evaluate you, but enjoyable. So great job. All right, so let's move on to Diego's icebreaker, and this was also, it's really fun to evaluate 2 different total levels of experience in Toastmasters. So I got to evaluate Rick, who's been in Toastmasters for several years, and now Diego, who is newly involved in Toastmasters, but did a great job today. So the objectives for Diego's speech was an icebreaker. So it's essentially your first time getting up and speaking about yourself. So how do I share with the group in front of me, those looking in at home, who I am? So Diego did a great job of talking about his country, so using his heritage and talking about things that were probably unfamiliar to most of us. I don't think many of us have spent a Christmas in Colombia. So I think did a fantastic job of telling us about your culture and the history involved with Christmas. You did a really nice job of being relaxed. You used really nice hand gestures, not all over the place and not sitting like this. You did a really nice relaxed movement of hands. So I think you did a fantastic job there. The only thing that I thought you could have done to maybe make it a little bit more personable is tell a story. So you kind of talked about the traditions, but tell a story about when you were a child at Christmas, maybe a specific meal your grandma made, or a specific, you talked about the Muppets. So I think that was really interesting. Maybe one time when your family put the firecrackers off and threw away the bad times of the year. So, or talk about some of the grapes you ate and what wishes you made associated with those grapes. So if you would have gave us maybe a specific story, I think that would have helped capture us a little bit more. Another thing you did really nicely is you had notes, but you really didn't use them. So I think you did a fantastic job of just telling the story and letting it flow. You told us, the beginning, you had a middle part, and then you concluded with saying the toast is kind of how you end the night but really begin the partying. So that was a great job. So really look forward to hearing many more speeches from you. Thank you, Diego.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate your doing double duty for us today. Now we're going to hear about all those things that we really don't want to know that we do, but we need to know that we do. Those verbal crutches, the ahs and ums. Help me welcome Darren up here for our ah counter and grammarian report. Darren?
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. We had a few people use the word facilitate: Carol, Peter, Rick twice, and Michelle. We had a pretty good day for ums and ahs and filler words. Carol was perfect, which was good considering she was Toastmaster and Tabletopics Master. Peter, I counted only one in your speech, which is very good for icebreaker. Rick was perfect. Sheena, I had 4 ums, and you did have 2 so's. I think so is your transition word. You used that twice, but very good overall. Michelle, I counted 3 ums and 1 you know, which once again for 2 evaluations was pretty good. Mary, I counted 4 ums for yours. I know you were worried about that. Diego, I did have 10 ums or ahs during your speech, but during an icebreaker, there's really not that many. We have a member who's not here who I can remember had upwards of 40 or 50 ums and ahs during his first speech. I think now he can get through a speech with probably 0 or very few. So that's something that's not really focused on in other places when you speak. Toastmasters really focuses on the filler words, so that's not unusual. And I guarantee you, probably the third or fourth speech, you'll have it down to many, many fewer ums and ahs. So overall, good job.
Thank you, Darren. And did you hear any lip smacks? Those are one of the things I used to get zinged on. Now, we need to hear from our timer. And one of the reasons that we time as a part of our meeting is to keep our meeting within the time frame that we've allotted. Since we are also a program, our program is broadcast on community access television, we have to keep our program within 58 minutes. So that's another incentive for us to stay on time. But I'm sure many of you can relate to going to some meeting where things go on and on and on. Most people don't complain when you end early, but there's a skill to getting what you need to say said in the time that you have allotted. So let me welcome our timer up here, Ron, for his time report.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator. For a meeting to be facilitated expeditiously, everybody has to adhere to a very precise time frame with their given topics. And each of you did remarkably well on that. For the table topics, Michelle was 1 minute and 28 seconds. Darren, 1 minute and 35 seconds. Sheena, I wrote it down as Gina the first time and then got Sheena the second time, 1 minute and 12 seconds. And Mary, 47 seconds. And all were to be, I believe, within 1 minute and 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Dr. Ruelhman was excellent at 6 minutes and 24 seconds for an intended topic of 4 to 6 minutes. Rick was 6 minutes and 36 seconds, under that allotted time frame of 7 minutes. Diego enjoyed hearing about Colombia as compared to America, and you were at 7 minutes and 14 seconds, where your time allotment was 4 to 6 minutes. In terms of the general evaluations, Sheena evaluating Peter was 2 minutes and 46 seconds, to be in between 2 to 3 minutes. Michelle and her evaluation of Rick was 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And I really didn't know how to start the timer there, knowing that you were doing both of them. And on Diego, 2 minutes and 16 seconds. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ron. Now I have an opportunity to provide some feedback on our overall meeting and a couple of things that I've noticed. One of the things I can comment on as well, I was in the director's booth for the first part of this meeting, so there are a few things that we have to be aware of in a studio, and that is you really don't want to thump on the lectern because that is resonating through the microphone sitting here on the lectern to our recording. And Carol, you, who is so punctual about reminding us not to do that, did it. So you don't need to show us what not to do. You probably noticed from the evaluators as well that it requires careful listening, because all of our evaluators provided specifics that they could comment on, so that the speaker had an actual example of what they were talking about. I wanted to compliment our evaluators on the prepared speeches as well. Sheena, you gave some specifics which I thought were really good. You gave both positive aspects of the speech and then a growth area. One of the things that you might want to keep in mind when you're doing evaluations is to tell the audience what the objectives were, because that gives them a little better idea what you're comparing them against, what kind of criteria you're looking for. Michelle did that for both of our speakers that she evaluated. And Michelle, I appreciate your stepping up and giving us 2 evaluations. Let me see. I know Michelle also commented on how hard it is to give Rick an evaluation, and I agree. That is difficult. You probably could have talked a little bit less about our time on his committee and a little bit more on other things in the speech that he gave here today, but I agree. But I wasn't up here giving the evaluation. On Diego's speech, you also provided some really good feedback for him. And I think the point of telling a story, because that'll engage people, it really makes them sit up and pay attention. So one of the things that you'll often hear people talk about is using a story or some personal experience in your presentation. For the speakers, a couple of comments that I have. Peter, when using your notes, and I know this was your icebreaker, but one of the things that I do when I have to use notes is I will type stuff up and then I put it in a really big font and print it, and space and a half it or double space it so that when I look down I don't have to search. The other thing is, in a speech, pauses have a good presence in a speech, and so sometimes you can just take a pause as you're moving through things. You can use pauses for emphasis. You can also use pauses if you are going to prepare for whatever you're presenting next. It often feels like forever, but the pauses that you use generally are actually shorter than you realize. Rick, I thought that your presentation was really good. Your speech was excellent. You are difficult to evaluate, and I don't have anything that I want to comment on specifically at this moment, so I'm going to give you a free pass today. I'll think of something later. Diego, one of the things I want to commend you on is how well you held your visual up, because you held it steady, and so I was able to have Rick, when he was helping me on the cameras, focus in on that so that we could actually go to the camera looking at your visual aid and the audience can see what you had on there. I wasn't clear when Michelle gave her table topic on the polar bear. Did that page have anything on it, or is it just a blank sheet of paper? Okay, because I'm looking at the camera and I'm thinking, I don't have any idea. I don't think there's anything there. Darren, good job on giving us specifics as to what we used for crutch words, or if we used them. Also, noting whether people use the word of the day. Great job on that. And Ron, thank you for your conscientiousness in timing everyone, because that is one of the things that also helps us to keep our meetings on time and help people get used to speaking in the time slot that they've been allotted. Our meeting started promptly today, and we will end in about 2 minutes because that's all the time that I have left on our tape. So I'm going to turn it back to our table topic, or our Toastmaster.
Is that yours?
Turn the lectern over to you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, for that very thorough evaluation. If you enjoyed the meeting today, let's hear it. Thank you. I enjoyed it. We always have very good meetings, and our president is Michelle. I will return control of the meeting to Michelle Lewis.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and thank you for those of you in the audience today and those looking in at home. Hopefully you'll find a time to come check us out. You can learn more about us at www.tvtoastmasters.com. We meet again the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. and the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. at 7850 5 Mile Road, the Anderson Community Television Studio.